that I was going to tell everybody that you said you forgot. What was that word? Do you remember?
No.
Irish tropical. Oh, yes, you do. Irish
No,
tropical and trivial.
that was the other day when we were
That was
looking
this
for
morning.
trivia.
That was tropical and trivia was the other day, but you said something this morning. Hmm.
Oh god, if I could remember, it'd be nice.
And you know what? We don't have the trivia question answer, and we don't have a trivia question for today. But oh well, we'll
We'll get it
we'll
tomorrow.
get it tomorrow.
Or no, Tuesday.
Tomorrow. Oh, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That's right. Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah. My
Okay.
sorry butt is got physical therapy.
Yep.
Okay, I was just updating this. I gotta
Oh,
go
you know
ahead and
what? We're
share the
lucky
links
too
on
because my other doctor's appointment's Wednesday, so we'll both be off Wednesday. That works out good. Okay, cool.
okay.
All right, that's awesome. Okay.
So I need to make sure this is going to the right places. One moment, folks. And then I need to also share it to the Discord server. So be patient with me while I'm sharing out the live.
And we are using a new program that we have been at this since 7:30 this morning.
Well, not on the studio, but
No,
setting
but in
everything up.
different things. Yeah, we've been working since 7:30 this morning. So
Yeah.
we
But the
I've just
studio
about
we
yeah,
had fun with.
yeah, and I've just about had it. So she's just about had it and we've just about had it. So,
Yep.
yep, we've just about had it.
Okay. We still got to test the chat.
Right. If
Um,
anybody listening, if you would comment back to us in the chat,
from
we're kind of,
Rumble
yeah,
and
for
YouTube.
Rumble and YouTube. Uh, Again, we're using a brand new system that's rolled out today that we're clueless as to what we're doing. Well, we've gotten better as the day has progressed, but we need to know that you guys are seeing things and that you can respond. So tell us whatever you
Yeah.
want.
And then I also need to check that I can send things out. Um, and it looks like we got 5 people watching on Rumble.
Okay, 5 people in Rumble. Could you please respond to us that you see us, hear us, and that you've just about had it too? Or by the time you're done with us, you've just about had it with us too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's been a day. It's been a day.
That's putting it mildly. But we think we got something at least a little bit
Fixed.
organized and nice today and fixed. And if it isn't fixed, well,
Alright,
uh,
I'm gonna try something. I wanna say I'm texting it out. Oh, there's Arby.
hey, Arby.
I cannot post to Rumble for some stupid reason. I have to pull up the Rumble chat to get that. And, well, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, and I have no keyboard, so I can't do anything.
Okay, I see Blue Rose, I see Leia, and Leia, this time we are actually doing the live
Exactly. Thank you for your patience.
and
Thank you
help
for,
earlier.
yeah, thank you for being with us. Hey, Blue.
Hello, hello. Okay, I need my show notes so I can make sure we're all on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Alright, we're gonna do our first video using the studio to play it, and then we're going to use, the second video off of a, program on my computer that I'll just screen share, and y'all gotta tell me which one is best, okay? Hey, Brent.
So your options are you're gonna like number one or number two better, and we'd like you to put that in the chat. So the
Yep.
first video is one, the second video is two. Which do you like better?
Um, uh, oh, you know what? Nope, the second one is actually gonna be from the internet. Oh, shit.
Oh, fudge bucket
It'll be
balls.
the third one. It'll be the third
Okay.
video. I'm gonna have to pull. Did I save that though? I don't remember if I saved that. I don't think I saved that one. The this one you sent me from the politicians that hate us. I
I
don't think
thought
I. Yeah, that wasn't from YouTube, so I have no choice but to go to the website for it.
Okay.
If that's a video. No, that's not a video. That's
It's
a
not a
article.
video. Yeah, it's a paper.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the second video will be from the Obama thing. So, okay, let's get started. So, I'm not going to drive you guys nuts.
No, she just drove me nuts. That's all. Okay.
It's all fun,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, let's hit play and see how this goes. Oh, first let me transfer it over and then hit
I'm not
play.
sure I've seen a better example of the sort of continued scorn the Democrats have for everyday Americans than what was exhibited last night on Mehdi Hassan's show. He was joined on the air by the execrable congresswoman from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar. Here she is explaining that Americans are just stupid.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with it.
We're stupid and she laughs about it. I love that. Let's continue.
Any of these people, because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that
I guess she missed the freedom of speech part of our Constitution.
I don't know what part she missed, but she missed something.
Yeah, she did. And I'm sorry I blocked our faces, but I had to share that for Brent. He's right. He's totally right. But let's continue.
the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
Yeah, it must be the stupidity. It can't be that you guys chose every wrong position as possible to take in American politics, and now the American people have rejected you. It can't be that at all.
Nope, it couldn't possibly be that. Could not possibly be that at all. There's no way, right? How stupid. Like, okay, she obviously thinks we're really stupid, but we have freedom of speech. We have freedom of press. We have all kinds of things. And for her to sit there and insult us like that, wow.
I can't believe she had the nerve to say that
I
on live
can't believe she did
TV. Yeah,
either.
I don't believe it. I mean, given her, her situation and everything, I'm surprised that she said anything.
Oh, yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it 100%. But what I don't like is the way she talks shit about us.
Right.
I don't like that. So, yeah, she's yeah, she needs to go back to Somalia, plain and
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Correct.
I'm gonna pull this up and get it off of our faces
Mm-hmm.
so we can
And
share this
yeah, and this would
article.
be and I don't know if we can play that video. It might come across. Let's see what happens with that crazy
Oh,
video.
shoot.
But
This
this is
is
our
too
next.
big.
This is our next representative in Congress that has negative comments about Americans.
Uh-huh.
Okay, see what happens when we hit play with that.
Okay.
Now, this statement that she made has gone viral. When you hear it, there has been comments that she is
Whoops.
being racist in the comments that she made.
Yep. Oh my god. Hold on. I gotta get rid of my taskbar. I don't know what happened. All right, let's hit play.
They are so outraged by these immigrants and the crime that they're bringing, and not to mention city law enforcement, local law enforcement. They are always going after crime, and they don't say, oh, you committed a murder, oh, but you're an immigrant, well, let me let you go, right? So they are always focused on crime. They continue to say things like the illegals and that they broke the law coming in. But what they're not telling the American people is that it is a civil violation. It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal.
That's not true. It's a
Yes,
federal
it
crime.
is.
It's a
But
federal
let's
crime.
yeah. Let me continue.
So we have representatives that
Crime.
don't
It's not a
know the
crime,
law.
which is why
Oops.
they're so frustrated.
It won't pause again. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. As I said, it is a federal crime to enter the country illegally. It is not a civil crime.
It is
So
not.
we have representatives and senators out there telling the public, it's no big deal. You just came into the country. Give me $250 and you can stay. So this is I think this is part of the way that they're trying to push, keep the illegals in the country. But if she continues, go ahead.
All right.
Because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations.
Yep.
So
Hold on. Let's pause.
okay,
Yep.
is that over?
Yeah, the video
Okay.
part's over. I
Okay.
just gotta
So
figure out how to get out of this frickin' full screen thing.
okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just start reading. So she is Republic Representative Jasmine Crockett, Democrat from Texas. Now, she's arguing that Americans need illegal immigrants because they do the work that the college educated in this country will not do.
Oh, that's kind of racist,
Uh-huh.
isn't it?
Yeah. She made these statements on March 8th at a meeting at South by Southwest Festival. In this video clip that went viral on Friday, Crockett made the point that Americans don't send their kids to college in the hope that they'll end up picking crops and cleaning hotel rooms, but that's what the illegal immigrants do. How many of you are sending your kids to college? Crockett asked the crowd. How many of you are sending your kids to college to go and work on the farms?
You don't need college for that.
Exactly. After no response, Crockett added, okay, so guess who is working in the farms so that you can afford your food, so that you can have food? The Congresswoman continued to make her point that Americans don't want their college educated kids to provide these services and goods. Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotel? She asked. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can go and build these houses? She continued.
Lovely.
So the reality is as long as we live in a capitalistic society, there's always going to be someone or in a group of people that will do work that some of the rest of you all don't want to do, Crockett said. These are the people who are really making us great in this country. They pay into taxes, and guess what? They're not able to pull down on Social Security. So, to these people going out disparaging them and targeting them, that is not what makes us great, she concluded. She was on stage with a journalist of the 19th Times. Haynes posted this clip on her social media account earlier when she reshared it, where it was picked up over by 1 million viewers in 4 hours.
Lovely.
In the caption, Haynes said she asked Crockett about President Donald Trump's effort to significantly restrict immigration, including authorizing immigration law enforcement to raid churches and schools and rolling back funding for sanctuary states and cities. Crockett isn't the only Democrat who has made this argument in recent years. Nadler had made similar comments last year. He's a representative from New York.
I'm trying to
In
find where you were. I went to adjust some notes
That's
because
okay.
Brent sent a video, so I don't know where you're at, and
That's
people
fine.
can't see,
That's fine.
but they can
In
go read it.
Right. Yes. Everything that we have will be listed in the description below. All of our documentation and all of our research. In 2023, for Florida, oh, I can't stand this one. In 2023, Florida Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz also said vegetables in her state would start rotting due to an anti illegal immigration law.
She is so full of
Mhm.
shit.
Speaker Pelosi in 2022 said that farmers need illegal immigrants to pick the crops in Florida. Crockett drew attention last week for claiming that entering the country illegally was not a crime, despite it being a violation of federal law. Improper entry into the United States is considered a federal misdemeanor, punishable by fines and up to 6 months in jail for first-time offenders. Repeat offenders can be subjected to fines and up to 2 years in prison. And as a reminder, if you recall, I'm trying to go back, bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
Kelly Osbourne was on The View, and she had made that infamous statement
Yes.
about
It was
Latinos.
really
It was like one of the most cringe moments ever. And she stated that who would clean the toilets?
Yep.
So you talk about racist comments. Now, there was just a report. I believe it's Schumer is out there espousing that we need illegals to fill these millions and millions of jobs that are available. I've seen contrary to that about job reports. There are some jobs in industries, but I also have seen layoffs occurring in places. And I'll tell you what, there are millions of Americans who do not have a job. And if there's millions and millions of jobs available, those Americans should get first dibs before an illegal gets them. That's my
Uh-huh.
opinion. That's my
Yep.
opinion. And I find it hard to believe that, one, you don't need a college degree to build a house, or, there's trade schools, there's, you know, um, you get out of college and you just might go into hospitality, or you may be go pick the crops or whatever.
Yeah.
There's jobs for everybody, depending on your education level. Some people don't have schools. I mean, they don't get their degree, and so they might end up in a lower level job. And that's just the way that ball rolls. In
Yep.
order to progress into different types of jobs, they require different types of educational levels. But to say that Americans are lazy, they don't want to take these jobs, is bullcrap.
Bullshit. I've worked in the fields.
Hmm.
It's backbreaking work, but it's great for high school students.
Hmm.
We have high school students who could totally be out there getting their first job in the fields.
And back in the day, if I recall correctly, and I think this would be a good use of their service, why can't prisoners go out and work? I
Yeah.
mean, I know they have various jobs. They could sign up for, I'll go pick crops, or I'll do X, Y, and Z and get a couple
Mhm.
dollars for it. Why not?
Arby just put, or maybe we shouldn't have turned college into an extension of high school and told people unless degrees was a good idea.
Exactly, that's true as well. And that's absolutely the case. We do not prepare when they graduate from college. I mean, from high school. College is really just another extension.
Yep. It really is. I'm going to move us to the top so people
Hmm.
can see us,
Okay. And
and I'm gonna move the video down lower.
uh,
The, what we're sharing. Sorry.
right. One of the things, and my background is in human resources, so I do a lot. I have done a lot of hiring. I've gone to a lot of places, job fairs I've set up. I've been in colleges. I have been an assistant professor at a community college. So I've been around a lot of. I've worked manufacturing. I've worked in
Mhm.
professional organizations. So I've seen all of the behind the scenes and where the jobs and that are. One of the interesting pieces about college that RB makes is, do you know that by the time students get to a large portion, by the time they get to their first semester in college, they actually have to take a step back in math and reading because they do not have the skills to start at the college level. So they take one or two classes before the college level class, that they pay for that they don't get credit for just in order to begin their first semester in college.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem, a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our current. Wait, we have one other current event that we want to
Well,
discuss.
actually,
Yeah.
Brent sent me something, and I want to show it really quick. It was Jasmine Crockett before the election, before she started acting all ghetto.
Oh,
Um,
I've seen. I think I know what it is. Go ahead.
Let me enlarge this. No, not that. That. There we
Yeah,
go.
there she is. Hmm. I've seen this one. We have no sound.
Uh-oh.
It's
We
in
should
the
have
editor
sound.
thing. You got to. Is it? It's not showing up in the live preview.
Uh-oh. Oh, my God. I am so sorry. Thank you. All right, here we go. Oh, geez, oh, peeps. Oh, I keep getting messages.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new
Oh,
year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, you know. But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do for sure. We got some cool shirts. You know, the congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat. And I was just starting to get into the rhythm of doing constituent services and things like that. We got Madam Williams, who just happens to have the honorary seat. It's not even honorary because she's holding it down, y'all. But the legend himself, John Lewis.
it almost makes me mad how these politicians put on a show. It really makes it's like one of those things that, like, they should not be allowed to do that. They should not.
I just think the change in her is interesting. I saw a meme about her where her eyelashes must come out like a foot long. It's pretty, pretty
They're
scary,
fake. They're
actually. Yeah,
fake too.
everything
Uh,
about her. Yeah,
yeah,
but
and McDonald's was supposed to be a way for kids to get the, career started and stuff,
mm,
but after the, automotive industries shut down under, Obama is when people started making McDonald's into a career,
yeah,
and it wasn't. It was not supposed to be that way, and I remember that change.
hmm
And that was big in Michigan because that's where the automotive industry was.
Well,
But,
yeah, the workers had to go somewhere. That's the same way as in any town that had steel mills. Where were they
yeah,
going to go? There was no place for them to go. There were, Pittsburgh was nothing but a steel mill town.
yep,
And, fortunately, that has universities and medical, and they kind of went that route. But, initially, they were scrambling for any job that they could possibly get. So,
yeah,
for for her to say that Americans don't want the jobs. That's bull crap.
it
If you want
is.
to work, you're going to work.
It is absolute bull crap, and I just don't understand how people can get away with it.
But there is another flip side to this story. And I don't want to delve into all that, but I'm going to say it. And that there is the uh, industry of hiring of illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
And that goes from not only picking the crops, but you take a look at what happened to New York City when they got inundated with immigrants, and just take a look, and that's a story we can talk about later, but they were doing things like hiring them illegally to make deliveries and all types of things. I mean, AOC's been accused of having an illegal immigrant on her payroll, which they're still investigating. So there is that black market, or not even a black market, but there is that underlying people do hire people under the table. So that market is out there in the Ethernet as well as everything else. So
Yeah.
that's something to take under consideration. What I find interesting about that is the laws on paperwork, having documentation, how people get around things is blows my mind on the way people cheat the system.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that the creative ways that they come up with to do things. One person will share, for Social Security numbers or for banking routing number, whatever. And I just, it's without anybody taking a look at it, it's just paperwork for really no reason. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, let's move on.
Okay, next one is someone claiming they have proof that oops, sorry, wrong thing. That they the feds messed with Trump's election in 2016 on behalf of what's her face?
Hillary Clinton.
Yep. So, let's hit play.
The FBI interfered in the 2016 election. And then when they failed to get their candidate elected, Hillary Clinton, then they just set out to destroy the Trump administration. So then go up to 2020. It was the CIA this time that got...
Uh-oh. I thought I did. Okay, let's try this again. Where'd my mouse go? Where is... My mouse is... Okay, there it is. Let's try it again.
Got involved in the 2020 election with those 51 former intel agents who talked about the Hunter Biden laptop as total Russian disinformation. So they've gotten away with it for 2 elections. They're for sure going to get away with it. Try to get away with it in 24, right? Because there's no consequence.
Okay, let's try a different media player. Let's stop sharing for a moment. And we will do this. And I'm going to see if the other media player works better. 1 second, folks. All right, let's try the other media player. Okay, let's share that one. If this doesn't work, I'll play it through the studio. Okay. All right, let's see if this makes a difference.
Now have black and white evidence that the FBI
interfered
in the 2016 election.
No.
And then when they failed to get their
candidate elected,
then they just set out to
it's all the way
destroy
up.
the Trump administration.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to play it through the studio. 1 moment. I am so sorry that that's the case. Let's do it this way. Where is it? There we are. Open. Let's add to scene and make this sucker smaller-ish. Okay. Let's try this and see if it works.
Now have black and white evidence that the FBI interfered in the 2016 election.
That's so weird.
And then when they failed to get their candidate elected, Hillary Clinton, then they just set out to destroy the Trump administration. So then go up to 2020. It was the CIA this time that got involved in the 2020 election with those 51 former intel agents who talked about the Hunter Biden laptop as total Russian disinformation. So they've gotten away with it for 2 elections. They're for sure going to get away with it, try to get away with it in 24, right? Because there's no consequence. The difference is in 2024, the evidence is there. We now have the Durham investigation. We have all the congressional investigations. There is now hard evidence that there was election interference by the U.S. intelligence agencies and the Department of Justice. They've got to be terrified, those individuals have to be terrified that a Republican president comes in the 2024 election with a Republican attorney general, investigates them and charges them all with the crimes they've committed over the last 8 years.
Well, we'll see about that. You're right. There are questions around these elections.
And there's a lot of questions about around a lot of things. And, just watch this channel. We go through them, all the time. But no, I suspected that the feds were interfering. It was all on purpose. And, it was just bound to happen. So, it is what it is.
Because of this interference, do you think there will be election interference then in 24?
Take it to the bank. They will absolutely interfere in 2024. We're not sure how, but they will absolutely interfere, not only because they're not going to like whoever the Republican candidate is, but because they're going to protect their own hides. That's why they were talking to their own people, and the whistleblowers have brought this up, that they were told, don't put anything on paper, just tell us orally. They knew that they were doing stuff wrong. They knew that they were going to be liable for prosecution.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh,
well, she's saying, is this video old? Because she's saying that there was interference in 24. It's already 25. So they should be looking at prosecuting people this year, correct? For the last 8 years. And what the heck went on in 24?
Yes, that's what she's been getting at.
Okay. It didn't sound okay.
And then one more video I wanted to share currently. Whoops, I forgot to do this. There we go. Okay. And now this resurfaced video, I believe this is the resurfaced video. Hold on, let me double check. Is that the right one? Oh yeah, because it's from a news station. I didn't have to do any editing. So this one was Obama. I believe this was Obama coming up with the DOGE beforehand. Let's double check because I might have clicked the wrong one. My mouse.
With respect to Mr. Romney's assertion that Russia's our number
oh no, this
one
is the Russia
geopolitical
threat.
foe.
Whoops, that's the Russia threat one. Wrong one. Sorry. One moment. I'll find the right one. I promise. Oh, my hands hate me. Ah, there it is. Got it. Okay. Let me open it on my end. Make sure it transitioned, and here we go.
Hi, everyone. This stack of books right here is called the Federal Register. For decades, copies have been printed, bound, and sent to thousands of government offices all across
I'm playing it through the studio
every single day.
If there wasn't any.
And while
I'm not, making
you might think that most people just can't wait to dig into their copy.
Really?
Really?
Playing it through the studio. Y'all should be able to hear it. You guys should be able to hear it. That does not make sense.
No sound, grasshopper.
Weird. Because okay, let's try it this way.
Hi, everyone.
Is it now?
This stack of books right here is called the Federal.
Well, the volume's up.
And just as a reminder, folks, we're using a brand new system that is rolling out today. And do we really know what we're doing? That is the question.
Oh, Leia says she can hear it. Leia says she can hear it, so it must just be you.
Oh,
okay.
Me. What about anybody?
But Arby says he can't hear it.
Thank you, Arby. She's going to try.
Oh no, Arby and Leia. I'm going to play it, and we'll go from there. I apologize, Dee, that you can't hear it for some reason, but it's going through.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This stack of books right here is called the Federal Register. For decades, copies have been printed, bound, and sent to thousands of government offices all across the country, every single day. And while you might think that most people just can't wait to dig into their copy as soon as it arrives, the truth is no one reads this thing. And that's because it's been available on the internet for years, which means taxpayers have been funding some pretty expensive doorstops. So we're putting an end to that, saving you millions of dollars each year. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions.
This was Obama campaigning on cutting the deficit. How does that make... Okay, he claimed he was going to do this. But did it happen? All right, let's get through this.
And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste.
The stuff everyone's screaming about Trump doing? Okay. He's pointing out, I know you can't hear it, D, but he's pointing out that, yeah, they are supposed to be cut in all this wasteful spending.
We should be getting rid of, even if we didn't have a deficit. We're off to a good start. Over the last 2 years, we've pulled the plug on all kinds of ridiculous practices. Apparently, the government used to overnight containers filled with nothing. Don't ask why that is. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, but no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too, so we can invest in the things that we know will create good jobs and grow the economy. Things like education and technology. Besides, after a while, all these cuts add up. Already we've identified about $33 billion in savings, just for this year. And we're not finished, not by a long shot. Did you?
They never did anything about it, though. They identified it, but did nothing. If I remember correctly, right, Dee? They identified all this money, but never did anything under Obama?
Correct. They've done that, I believe, under Clinton as well. And Bush. They all have said that they would cut.
But they never do.
But they never do. Trump's the first person that has. That's why everybody's in an uproar, because everybody campaigns on it, and then once they get into office, it just goes to hell in a handbasket, and nothing's ever done. So this is the first time, and, Trump has, taken kind of a wrecking ball to it, which I kind of like. I'm actually been disappointed. I think they kind of lost a little bit of steam, but whatever. But he is the first person to ever do anything. The other piece, which I didn't pull, was there was a federal judge that ordered about 10,000 of them back, and so far they've refused to bring them back. So that's going to court.
But look at Biden, who went and paid off student loans that the Supreme Court told him not to do.
Why is that okay? Exactly. That doesn't.
They're both
sense.
wrong for defying court orders. Well, they are both very wrong.
Well, I disagree with that because, well, that's a whole nother topic, and we have another radical, which we'll talk about next week, of these activist judges that they're trying to legislate from the bench. So Trump has the authority to do what he's doing, and they are interjecting saying, no, you're not going to do this. So,
okay. And see, but again, is what he's doing legal? Can he fire a bunch of federal employees?
According to, he has executive authority over the executive offices. He's the top dog. He's like the CEO of the government.
Oh, yeah.
These employees work for him. And so he has.
They think they work for. Well, that's like my one coworker who said Medicare doesn't pay me. Medicare don't sign my checks, and actually, Medicare provides the money for the check to be paid.
Right.
So,
and real brief, just so you know that, and we're going to talk about this next week, but just real quick, with this activist judge bullshit, there were cartel members on an airplane on their way back to Mexico, and this judge ordered the plane to turn around and come back to the United States because these cartel members have rights.
No, they don't.
Illegal. Oh, yes, they do. That's what he said. The
What fucking
ACLU,
right?
yep, the ACLU filed a lawsuit. He said, bring them back and don't
Fuck
send
that.
anybody else down. So I
No,
think the
unacceptable.
the ACLU I thought stood for American Civil Liberties Union. I think they should change their name to the ICLU for immigration. So
Yeah.
just a bunch of bullshit. So the problem is, number one, all the executive orders Trump's been doing, as we know, Congress should be picking these up and making them into law. That's the first thing, and then there'd be no crap, with anything he's doing. But look at all the executive orders Biden did and Obama did. Uh,
Yeah.
you didn't see this crap go on, but they're targeting Trump. They've already had, in the month of January, he had 55 lawsuits filed against him just in the month of January. And
Yeah.
I think they looked at uh, Biden in his whole I think in his whole 4-year term, it was a ridiculously low number. I don't want to make the number up, but it was nowhere near 55. So it's an out and out target, against Trump. But
Okay.
we'll get into that later. But it just correlates with what's going on. Trump
Yeah.
does have the authority to do this. Now we have judges interceding on everything he does. So
There's still a few more minutes on this video, so I'm going to hit play and we're going to listen to Obama lie through his teeth some more.
You know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of. By the way, you're not only paying for websites.
And now he's talking about taxpayer-funded websites that are useless. We shouldn't be paying for them. I don't get this. Like, dude, why didn't you follow through? Let's continue.
Sites no one needs. You're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country.
Oh, the same buildings Trump is auctioning off that everybody bitched about. He talked about getting rid of those buildings.
yeah, right now we're paying for buildings that
Unoccupied
are not being
buildings.
occupied, right? Because Biden negotiated a 5-year or 6-year deal with the unions that employees have been working at home since COVID. They've not returned back to the office. Trump
Mm-hmm.
said, everybody, you will get back within so many days or you lose your job. But before Trump came into office, Biden sneakily met with the unions, negotiated a new contract, and some of these people don't have to return for 2.5 years back to their job.
Yep.
So again, Trump's saying
Half-built
no.
buildings.
Yeah, Trump's saying no, you work for me, not for him, and that's another court challenge. But all these buildings here that, Obama said he was going to get rid of, nothing happened. Trump says we're getting rid of them because this is billions of dollars. The only people that are in them are the janitors.
Yep.
Custodians, excuse me.
Oh.
Custodians.
And
building.
Arby changed it from main work to make work. Sorry, he had a typo.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's listen to some more lies.
No one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. All of these efforts to target waste and make government more efficient have been a priority for my administration since day one.
And they didn't actually do it, but I digress. He says that he's so full of shit.
But as we work to tackle the budget deficit, we need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you.
He says we need to make government work for the little people. Bullshit. He never did that. I don't recall him ever doing that. I remember him bailing out the automotive industries that ruined the economy.
Why the automotive industry is ruining the economy?
Sorry, my son was chiming in. Did you have something, Dee, that you were going to add?
I was just going to say it's never been for the little person, ever. You know, my husband's a small business owner, and I'd blow your mind with what he has to go through that is just, uh, you know, I've said it before, he works too hard for what the government ends up taking, and I can't stand it because it's just absolutely crazy with all the laws and regulations. You know, you got the city, you got the county, you got the state, and you got the federal.
Yep.
That's just, you know, in taxes, there's insurances, there's permitting, there's licensing, there's health insurance costs, there's office things, and how a small business makes it today is very extremely difficult. And so when and you've heard one of Kamala's things was, you know, we are gonna, you know, we're for small business. Small business is what makes this country.
She's full of shit.
Yep. So that's where with that.
Yep. Let me hit play to get through the last. Actually, do I really want to push
No, I
play?
think we're done with them.
I think we're done with him too.
Let's move on. It's getting close to 8.
Oh God. Let me do that number, and let me see what we had next on our show notes. I
So that was
believe.
basically all of current events that we had for today.
Okay. Yep. I got to bring up your Zelensky bio. That's what's next.
Okay, so
I'm going to have you read from your notes, and I'm
Okay.
going to screen share it.
Okay. And I don't know which way this is gonna let me just give me 1 second to see which is the best way to pull that up. Again, bear with us because it's a new system.
I don't know how well this is going to show
Yeah.
up coming through.
Yeah, it isn't. And I don't know. Hold on 1 second, please. If I lose you, I will come back in. People in the chat could sing and entertain us or something, please.
Yep.
If in case we get lost. Oh, grasshopper, this just might work. Hold on a second.
And sorry, it's still showing it as in typed, as in edit mode. I don't know how to fix that, so ignore the red lines. They want AI to fix everything, but this is stuff that Dee brought up. She just wants to go over some of the stuff from his
Right.
biography.
Yeah, we've had some we wanted to try to finish up on Ukraine and Russia, but it just seems like it's a never-ending tale. So, one of the things I think we're going to look at doing maybe on Sundays is like a little people dive, either every week or every other week. So, we decided we'd start with Vladimir, and I'm not going to pronounce his middle name, Zelensky. He was born in January of 78. One of the things I find interesting is he was born in what happened here? Go away. He was born in Russia, which has now become Ukraine. He was the 6th president of Ukraine, and as many of you know, before he entered politics, he was a comedian, actor, screenwriter, film producer, and director. What I found interesting was he does have a law degree, and before going into politics, he created a production company called Vartal 95, which produces films, cartoons, TV comedy, and shows. One of his movies he played in was called Servant of the People, where he actually played the Ukrainian president. And after that show ended, that's when he ran for president. And my honest opinion is people believed it so much in the show of him being president, they turned around and said he can be president. But in 2018, another interesting piece is employees of his production company created a political party called Servant of the People, named after his show. So there's an actual political party that was created. In 2019, he won 73.22% of the vote. And again, there were accusations of being a rigged allegations, and no elections have been ran since.
Yep.
Family, he is married with 2 children. Now, I found this, and I'm sorry. These have to be one of the 2 most outlandish awards I've ever seen. And on my son's birthday, that son of a gun won a quarterly award, and I'm inserting sarcasm here. He won this award from Yale School of Management. And there's a little description. Yale's up in New Haven, Connecticut. It's one of the 3rd largest institutions of higher education since 1701, held in one of the highest regards. And them morons gave him the Legend in Leadership Award, which celebrates established CEOs or others who offer inspiring legacies of contributing creativity, character, commercial impact again across cultures, industries, countries, and continents. Nominees are offered by peers and confirmed by Yale academics. Now, I could not find out who the peers were that nominated him.
I
Yeah.
want to intercept. It was actually a series. They added it to Netflix again back when the war started.
Okay.
That the Servant of the People. Brent
Okay.
just added that tidbit to the chat.
Then in 2022, Time Magazine named him Person of the Year. I'm inserting additional sarcasm here as well, like, you've got to be kidding me. But this was right after, or I think towards the end of COVID or so.
Mm-hmm.
If I recall correctly, he was the talk of the town. Everywhere he went, every country, every continent, every city. I do believe that's when Congress was wearing the pins. Everybody in the United States was flying the flag, and everything was support of Ukraine. Okay. If you want to see for further information, Crazy B has a deep dive video that is listed in the description below.
Yep.
Okay.
And Arby says, I don't know why you're surprised. The Ivy Leagues are just lefty think tanks.
I know that, but it's still, you would, I don't know. Yeah, really. I just, for somebody of that stature and nature, you would think that people would do a little bit better job of vetting. I guess they don't know, what the heck's going on, but whatever.
Yeah, why would they?
Yep. Okay, what do we got next?
What we got next is our little slideshow.
Okay. And I am having some issues here. So
We have, I know I'm not sharing my audio. Fudge off. There we are.
Okay.
So I'll let you break this down because I'm going to be controlling the PowerPoint.
Okay. And what's funny is I can hardly see it. We're going to have to hold on a second. Hold on. Bear with me, people, because we'll see if it works this way. This is funny as all hell. You can't make this up. Honest to goodness. Bear with me. Let me get there. Don't just stay there.
Hey, put that back up. I didn't take it down. I didn't ask you that. I know that.
Guys, I'm live. Come on. Behave.
You live.
Okay, so
come on.
Let me refresh. Okay, let's see what we got. Pull up the PowerPoint. Go ahead.
It is.
It's up?
It is up.
Can you guys just get
it says it can't complete the action. Rumble won't let me do it. Son of a bitch. Okay, so let's see what we got. Okay, so
well, you had the notes in the Discord. So you might be able to.
Yeah, we got Discord issues. Okay, so.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Okay, so after all of this Zelensky stuff and seeing him at the White House and throwing his little hissy fit in that, I decided that I heard somewhere that he was like 5'7". So I was like, you know what? I really think my man has the short man syndrome problem when you compare him against
Oh,
Trump or J.D. Vance. And so this short man syndrome is also known as the Napoleon Complex. And so
slide 2.
yes, we give you a picture of Zelensky and a backup one
Oh,
second.
sorry.
Okay. So Zelensky's on the left, and there's a picture of Napoleon when he was in his 30s. And Napoleon himself was only about 5'7.5". Now, it was named this complex in 1954, and that's in the show notes. You can read about that yourself. I just find it interesting that this doctor picked Napoleon at 5'7". I would have thought he would have picked somebody smaller. But back in Napoleon's day, their measurements, he measured 5'2". So maybe he went based on that. I'm sure he has some type of rationale. But go ahead, next slide, please.
All right.
Okay, what is the Napoleon Complex? Psychologist Alfred Adler first used the term in 1956. I'm sorry, I said 54, referring to short men who feel ashamed and resentful of being shorter than average. It also refers to men who constantly compare themselves to taller men. They become frustrated and angry when they are reminded of their short stature. Now, I don't remember Trump ever patting him on the head, but I'm sure Zelensky standing next to Trump feels somewhat
Yeah.
insignificant. And there is a
Yeah.
picture of Napoleon a little bit older, and you can see he's lost some of his hair.
Brent. Oh my God, Brent. Understatement.
Uh-huh.
Next slide.
Next slide. Now, with that, the many people will say that men that suffer from the Napoleon complex or short man syndrome suffer from narcissistic personality disorder. What is that? It is considered a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand. Arby just went over my words there.
Oh,
Well, he's finished.
sorry.
That's okay. You can pop them back up in a minute. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. And Arby's comment is what?
Well, he was getting more before the U.S. aid stopped for a bit.
Okay, next slide.
Hold on. Oh, I hear he has his mansion in Colombia.
Oh, okay.
I bet. Free, easy access. All right. Symptoms and causes.
Okay. Grandiose sense of self-importance. Oh man, I can hardly read that.
Do you need me to take over?
Yeah, go ahead, take over.
Okay, so symptoms are grandiose sense of self-importance, overestimating their capabilities or holding themselves to unreasonably high standards. Frequent fantasies about having or deserving success. Belief in superiority, need for admiration, entitlement, willingness to exploit others, lack of empathy, and frequent envy. Hence why, he's standing next to Trump. It explains it all.
Because both of them have it.
No. On the next slide, we have a list.
Now just stop here
the
for a minute. So
Why is
again,
Peter
I
there?
just I don't know for sure, but some of his behaviors, it might not be short man complex, but it's certainly some narcissistic tendencies. I mean, his total demand of, walking into the United States and saying, we want boots on the ground and I want your money and, you'll do as I say. That behavior is just outlandish. So I think that there was a little bit of something, something to that. And maybe, our man has a little bit of an issue. So anybody wants to purchase some heels to put in his shoes, them elevator shoes, maybe that'll help him. So we then, and Crazy B, you'll probably have to pull these up. The
Well, I
same,
actually have the article I can pull up to
okay,
read through a list of some of them and share the
okay.
article.
So we
But
found some other famous short men, and we were quite surprised at their height. So we just want to share a couple of those with you.
yep, I'm not gonna pull up the screen per se. The article will be in my description. Let me just give me a second to pull this up and I will read off some names and heights, and I was actually quite surprised by it. So in this list, we have Bruce Lee stood 5'7".
Really? I'm taller than him?
Yes. Martin Luther King Jr. stood 5'7".
My God, I could take all these people in a fight.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., the boxer, 5'8". I don't know who that is, so hold on. I'm just kind of looking. Alexander the Great stood 5'2", according to this. Winston Churchill was 5'6". Kendrick Lamar is 5'5".
I can kill him.
Stop it. Grab a mic or shut up. Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi stood 5'5". I'm sure the chat's just going through.
I could probably kick
Bono from U2 is 5'5".
I could probably kick him.
Tom Cruise is 5'7".
Really?
James Madison, former president of the United States, right? 5'4".
Yeah, I could probably kick him over.
I don't know who that is. Barry Sanders, football player that I grew up watching, 5'8". Prince, 5'2".
Well, I could kick him over.
Let's see who else. Eminem, which also falls into the short man complex, by the way. We'll just listen to his music. He is 5'8". I'm actually taller than all of these people. Bob Marley was 5'7".
Eh.
Mark Zuckerberg is 5'7".
Yeah, I could probably kick him.
Martin Short was 5'8". So now we get where the last name comes from. Paul Simon from Simon and Garfunkel was 5'7". Pablo Picasso was 5'4".
I could probably kick him over.
He's dead.
Okay, so we
yeah.
can stop
Well,
there.
you
You
just
guys
don't
get the
kill me,
idea. But in this
You forgot
particular
Peter
case,
Dinklage.
these
I could
people
probably
are
kick him over.
considered famous, and I would probably argue they at least made some money. Have a little bit of money behind them. So again,
Mhm.
I don't know. We didn't delve into them, so I don't know if they suffer from the short man complex or have narcissistic tendencies. But you will hear statements. I mean, you hear that about Trump. So that people that are successful, there is a kind of crossover. So I think you could take things on the list and you could apply them to Trump as well.
Yep.
Tall people. So is it, something there? I don't know, but it was just I thought I'd present just a little different twist on, what we're dealing with.
Mhm.
Next go around, I think. What's the next slide?
Short politicians.
Yes.
Angela Merkel is 5'5", and the average German is 5'10". Average French leader is 5'9". Francois Hollande, I believe I pronounced right, is 5'7". Average UK leader is 5'10", and David Cameron is 6'1". And Obama is up there because the average U.S. leader is 6 foot, so he's up there with it.
But
and
he's taller compared to that. So how is he short?
Well, no, this is just the stat.
Tell
the height.
Bryson he's going to have to get on the mic.
Grab a mic.
Either way, I could probably beat Obama.
Oh, stop it. Anyways, next.
In a fight, Mom.
So that's like, the average leaders. And you look at some of these leaders we have, like Jerry Nadler, who barely stands over 5 foot tall, and
Right.
God knows what his weight is. it's not a good sign that we have all these short leaders and very few tall ones.
Incest.
No, it's not that. Grab a mic.
No.
Anyways, next we have some memes that have been made about Zelensky, and they are actually pretty decent ones. At least they're appropriate to show. Let's just put it that way. You guys on my Discord server know exactly my type of humor. So, Zelensky, all in 1 month from I
Made
want
these
to be
statements.
sign it
Mhm.
to nope, ain't happening. All in 1 month. He went from I want a ceasefire, I want peace to fuck you. That's what we went through. And I love that I have a suit now I will sign, followed by I am not signing. Really good one.
Mhm.
Next one is probably the best of all, or close to the best. His GoFundMe to buy a tank.
Why? What is this?
It's a meme. It's a meme. I just said it's a
I'm
meme.
sitting like, what?
My son literally thought it was real.
No. I'm sitting like, what are you talking about?
Oh, as for Leia's comment, yeah, he was like 6'2". Yes, Clinton was a tall guy. And then last on our thing, we wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. And there is the little leprechaun stealing all of our money to take
He
back
looks
to
like a
his ward.
leprechaun. That's got to be the best one.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
he looks like a leprechaun. He really does.
That he does. So,
And there's the U.S. aid money that we talked about.
yep. And he's hauling it off to his little hoard of
Mhm.
money and gold wherever he
So,
hides it.
right. So everybody have a happy and safe St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. I'm sure you
Oh,
celebrated yesterday.
okay. I got to figure out what was next on our list. I apologize. How do I stop that? There. Okay. I couldn't remember what I was doing. Next was this video. I didn't get to save it, so we're going to have to share the screen. And I hope it doesn't go all glitchy. Because we don't know if this is fact. We have not found anything to back it up. So we're doing our best with this. But I really could not find a damn thing that backed up this statement this morning.
And neither did I.
Yep. Let me share my screen. Oh, no, I can just share tab. What am I doing? Audio automatically comes through. And so evidently Zelensky is backing out again from this. There is an English voiceover, if I'm not mistaken. So evidently he's backing out of the ceasefire agreement, according to this. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but it's something to keep in mind in case it is.
I can't be for sure that 30 days are
Why
enough
can't I
for
hear
that. I think that
I don't know.
From our
I
side,
know
it
why.
will be enough. But when we have 3 parties, 3 sides, and we'll do everything to have not 3 but 4 sides to be Europe to be included as well, and I would like us to be supported by the partners. It's important for us because, let's be honest, who will fund the support of Ukraine? Who will help in funding of our army?
I can tell you who. Yourself. At this point, you have run through so much money and it still isn't enough. It's time to call a stalemate and agree to peace.
How will he just use his
The only thing about, is he in the United States? Is that in the
No,
Oval
he is
Office?
back in Europe.
He's in Europe? Okay.
Oh, we have a common censored group in here. One person. I cannot see. I am literally blind. Bryce
Acosta.
Bryce Acosta. Thank you for jumping in.
Welcome.
Glad you could make it.
Bryce of Salmonella.
Get a mic or go to a different room.
No,
How's that?
It's funnier this way.
It's funnier this way where people can barely hear you running your mouth?
Exactly, because then they
No, we can hear him. That's the problem.
Oh, you guys can hear him really good?
Every
Oh.
word.
Oh, they can hear every word you say, so
Yeah.
don't fart.
Hitler was a good president.
Don't make me grab my cane and club you over the head. Sorry for those who are new. My son and routinely chimes in his 2 cents, not just here, but when I'm talking to my friends on Discord and various other places. He loves to be part of the conversation as long as he's not talking to the mic directly. Okay, back to Zelensky. Let's hear him out, because he seems to think we all need to send more money until all of Russia is basically gone. And I think they should just call it a stalemate and end this nonsense. Yep. Oh, yep, we can hear him just fine. It just ruins your process and train of thought. Yes, it does.
Because it's funnier this way.
Well, then grab a mic.
No. What's the point if they can hear me?
And where will Ukraine be in the security guarantees and its economic component of this guarantees? That depends on European Union. The help is Europe. I mean, financial support of the army and the recovery of Ukraine. The whole world wants that, and maybe the whole world will do that, but we rely upon, first and foremost, upon Europe and America. And that is why I think that who we are relying upon, those have to be the subjects of the deal. Europe, the United States, and we, the ones who are at war, Ukraine and Russians. That's what I think. And then maybe not 30 days, maybe a bit longer will be needed.
Whoops. I don't.
I can't. I can't. I really can't.
This pisses me off. Why do you need more than a 30-day
States?
ceasefire? Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
I just don't understand where he gets off on saying it's the United States. How is this our responsibility?
How is it Europe's responsibility? He has not signed a treaty with anyone. He is not part of NATO. Why should he get NATO benefits when he's still running a corrupt country? That is why NATO won't let him join. He's been aiming to join NATO.
And I'm going to argue, if anything, Europe should be the one to take care of the problem. If they're worried about expansion of Russia, you know, then.
But America also should have, we should have had better presidents who stepped up and ended this shit when it started, so it wouldn't have gotten to this point where it became a frickin' forever war.
Right. He's like a child that keeps coming back for,
1984, mother.
More and more and more.
Yep. And I'm not okay with it. I am absolutely not okay with it. There's just absolutely no reason that it should be happening like this. And it's like, at what point do we say we've helped? You either mishandled it or misdid things, but we're not responsible for this. We can only do so much. At what point can we get away with saying that? Yes, we agreed to help them defeat Russia if Russia invaded and push Russia back, but we not necessarily defeat, but to push Russia back. We agreed to help with that part. We did not agree to drag this out and turn it into a conquest.
Right.
It's all a joke because he's a comedian.
It is not a joke.
But he's a comedian.
Anyways, yes, we've actually discussed that a few episodes back. You should have been paying more attention.
No. You see, because it's all part of the joke. The funny stuff. Ha.
No. Go do some dishes. Anyways, do we want to tackle this next to last one, D, on the list?
Yeah, it's 8:15. Keep going.
Okay. Let me pull that up and share it. Yep, I still have that there. Okay. I'm learning how to work the studio. I promise. I really, truly am.
Hey, I got signed, so I'm happy.
I got to look in alphabetical order. Open. Okay. Media share. Let's play.
Well, before you play, what's the topic about?
If America were to get into war with the rest of the world, who would win?
Yep. Wait, and before we start, anybody in the chat want to type in, if America goes to war with the entire world, who's going to win the war? Or does America just crumble? Type it in the chat. Do we win or do we lose?
Yep.
And we'll wait a
And
second. Let's wait and
Brent
see if they...
actually added this. He's saying Putin wants war, and that's, oh, geez.
Right. Yeah,
Let me do
that's
this. And that's why he won't agree to a ceasefire. Exactly.
exactly. Yeah,
My
that's in
son
the
nailed it too.
Yeah.
What? That is all a joke?
No, that Putin just no,
That's the
Zelensky, not my
excuse.
son. My
Right.
Zelensky is saying that's his that Putin just wants the war.
Right.
I don't think it is.
Okay, so I'm waiting to see some people in the chat. If we go to war with the world, do we win or do we lose?
That's a good question. Do we win?
So we're going up against China, Russia,
What are your guys'
India,
predictions?
Iraq, everybody.
I see 5
Canada,
people in the chat. Some might be watching from TV or
Mexico.
a device they can't type on.
Yeah.
Nobody wins. Well, yeah. If we had more domestic, hold on. If we had more domestic production and resources, resource production, we would win.
Okay.
Leia says nobody wins, and Brent is with everybody loses. Well, yes. Hold on. If we had Canada and their resources and domestic production lines, we would be completely self-sufficient.
Well, isn't that
Okay.
why we're trying to make them the 51st state?
And Leia, we're not talking nukes, okay? We're just talking good old battle. Oh, and there's Blue Rose with good question. So everybody thinks that, well, of course, we're all going to lose in the end because, we're going to loss of life. It's not fair. It's not right. But I don't know. This
Let's
video
see.
kind of breaks it down. So,
So let's see.
hold on. But as far as basic military, without nukes, we are much bigger than the rest of the world. So
combined, Arby, do you believe that combined, even with everybody combined, we're still bigger?
It says, but we don't have the ability to keep up with China and Russia production of weapons and things like munitions, not minions. I get what you meant, but there we go.
Well, no, the minions make the munitions, so it kind
Yeah,
of goes
that's
together.
true.
So he wasn't that far off.
All right,
Okay,
I'm going to go ahead, hit play.
Superpower can be defined as a state with the ability to project power or exert influence on a global scale, usually in more than one region at a time. The United States has been the world's sole superpower since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, holding an unrivaled degree of economic and military dominance around the globe. Even today, with the rise of China, the US still remains by far the most powerful country, still far outstripping competitors in national power. It still has 3 times China's wealth and 5 times its military capabilities, and that's not to mention its enormous advantages in geography, demographics, and more. All things considered, it doesn't seem likely that the US is losing its status as global hegemon anytime soon. But hypothetically, what would happen if America found itself in a conflict against the entire rest of the world? Would the country still have the power to achieve victory, or would it be worn down and defeated? Today, we'll take a closer look at these questions, with a USA versus the world wargame. First, it goes without saying that such a scenario is extremely unlikely, if not downright impossible, during our lifetimes. Because of its diplomatic and economic ties around the world, as well as its huge arsenal of nuclear weapons, the US has almost entirely removed the possibility of real war with Europe and many other countries. But playing out the remote possibility still shows us a lot about US power and how it might look in the coming years. For the purpose of this video, we'll exclude nuclear weapons and assume that such a conflict would break out after a period of heightened global tensions rather than as a surprise attack. So who would really matter? The biggest challenges to the US in terms of actual military capability would certainly be China. Western European nations would be a close second, as they are wealthy and have stockpiles of advanced weapons and technology.
And that's what Arby was just saying in his last comment. Combine the 9 next Air Force, the 9 major powers, their air forces or navies, and we're still bigger. So, yeah, we do have a massive navy. And heaven forbid they should do anything to our boats. If anyone's paid attention to history, you know exactly what happens.
Yeah, the Spanish-American War. Blame the Maine on
Stop.
Spain.
While Russia, once considered to be America's main military challenger,
this is a really good question. Would there be fighting here in the United States if World War III broke out?
Yes.
Well, I would think so. Yes.
Yeah, in the video, we'll address the question, Leah.
Invasion of Ukraine has made clear that the country is something of a paper tiger, especially if its nuclear stockpile is out of the equation. India is another potential player, with the world's largest population and substantial military hardware. Together, China, Russia, India, and Europe account for the majority of the world's military spending outside of the US. In our hypothetical, let's say these countries all align against the US, with the rest of the world primarily contributing materiel or financial support. While this is extremely simplified, the fact of the matter is that most countries do not have the resources to project power beyond their borders or immediate region, making an attack on the US impossible. So let's say war breaks out. The first major difficulty with a global offensive against the US would be geographic. Surrounded by water on two sides, and Mexico and Canada to the north and south, any physical attack against the US would face major challenges. First, it would mean mounting either an enormous amphibious assault from one of the coasts or attempting to invade via land. But the deserts in the southwest and the Great Lakes in the Midwest insulate the country's major population centers from a potential invasion staged from Canada and Mexico. An invasion from outside North America would require massive fronts and
we would see them all coming. How could we miss it? Especially with Canada and Mexico. Big old convoys, we'd have time to prepare. Coming from across the oceans, we would have time to prepare. Interesting.
Long supply chains across the Pacific or Atlantic Oceans, leading to a dramatic reduction of overall power projection. Military expert Dylan Lurk has noted that even the largest amphibious assault in history on either the west coast or the east coast would be too insignificant to acquire an effective beachhead. If every foreign power managed to coordinate such a massive operation and do so while remaining undetected, under the enormous reach and power of the American intelligence apparatus, it would still have issues building up a force of any significant size before being pushed back into the sea. In addition, the strategic Hawaiian island chain acts as a gateway to the US mainland for attacks from the Pacific and is protected by a significant military presence. Similarly, military installations in Alaska provide protection against any invasion from along the Arctic or Northwest. An attack from Mexico would probably be more feasible due to the Great Lakes blocking much of the Canadian border. But California and Texas have the largest concentration of defense industries and
let's not forget all the military and the state militia in Texas. They have a state military and a state militia. Good luck. Let's keep going. I know I got to break it up every few minutes. Copyright stuff, blah, blah, blah. Let's continue.
Military bases in the country, thus providing an effective deterrent from any attack. With the southwestern desert spanning the two regions, the Southwest is also home to multiple heavily armed military bases, such as the White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico or NORAD headquarters in Colorado. An attack launched from Canada on the Midwest or the West would be limited to light infantry and would likely fail to take over population centers or other important strategic points, since there is mostly rural farmland and unpopulated national parks along the border, along with air bases located hundreds of miles south. Dr. Beckley makes this point as well, stating that the United States is a natural economic hub and military fortress. It's packed with resources and has more economic arteries like navigable waterways and ports than the rest of the world combined. And even if the US military was unable to stop an invasion, the huge diversity of terrain would also provide US military personnel or militias with the ability to conduct guerrilla warfare. The US is also by far the most heavily armed civilian population in the world, with a staggering 120
I'm going to let him get through the number.
20 guns for every 100 people.
120 guns for every 100 people. And most of us are really good with them. And most of us are legal, proper owners. They're not taking in the illegals, the people with the illegal guns, the gang members and stuff. So, Yeah.
I don't know if the gang members would fight for us, though, so
I don't know at this point. I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
think
It'd
they'd
be
turn on us.
interesting.
Nah, they'd turn on us.
We just take them out just as quickly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is, an interesting breakdown, and again, it, kinda bothers me that people would put this out there because it gives other people ways to try to find loopholes around it, but it's still very interesting.
This means that even if a coalition of other countries was able to actually get troops into the US, it would end up facing an incredibly well-armed and pissed-off insurgency. On the other hand, over the past 80 years, the US has developed a worldwide infrastructure of military bases, supply lines, and the world's largest air and naval transport fleets. This contains hundreds of ships and aircraft, more than the entire fleet of most countries. The lack of global mobility would be an enormous issue for any coalition facing the US. In the weeks before the sort of global conflict in our hypothetical, the US would most likely pull its forces out of the most vulnerable, non-American bases in Europe, Asia, and the Pacific, concentrating its resources in places where the US exercises greater territorial control to act as staging areas. Some areas would be considered too important to abandon, especially those supporting the military's supply chain, US oil assets, and key territorial choke points. One of the first battlefields in any conflict between the US and the rest of the world would be the Middle East. Here, one major aim of the DOD, as carried out by US Central Command, would be to secure critical US oil refineries and distribution.
I want to point out, we have 6 bases throughout the Middle East. Yeah. I think we could easily, if we had put full out into it, we would have owned the Middle East, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have some, if you're interested, and you could let us know in the comments or in the chat, I have additional videos that are similar to this that talk about particular, like, one-on-ones with Iran and kind of what would happen in this with the scene. So if you would be interested in that, I could pull some of those videos as well. I find it a comforting video because I always felt that it would be hard for us to be invaded, to be quite honest, given our terrain. Somebody might make a breakthrough in somewhere and get a hold of a city or do something. That's always a probability. But as far as taking the country over, that's probably next to impossible.
Between the deserts, the mountains, the plains where there's hardly anything available.
There's no way. Yeah, there's just no way they could do it.
Yeah.
But there's always been that worry of, well, would they do it? So listening to this video, I think, provides a comforting factor for me for having children and, grandchildren saying, we're better off than I thought we were. Now, nuclear's a different story, but, as far as an invasion goes, like Russia did with Ukraine, I doubt that we'd have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
All right, let's hit play.
Centers, as well as gain control of the sea lanes used for transporting oil out of the region. As of 2022, 80.4% of the world's oil reserves are located in countries belonging to the international oil cartel OPEC, and 67.1% of OPEC reserves are in the Middle East. Similarly, over 60% of the world's oil passes through shipping lanes in the Arabian Sea alone. While the US has reduced its presence in the region in recent years, a global conflict would almost certainly cause a reorientation. Possessing the world's 12th largest oil reserves means that the US could theoretically go self-sufficient in wartime, but control of some Middle Eastern reserves would make guaranteeing its supply much easier. Similarly, it would allow the US to deny oil to much of the rest of the world, and undermine the coalition's economies and military production. Europe, which would represent the US's most significant adversary, receives a significant amount of its crude oil and natural gas from the Middle East. This means that US military control of the region would harm Europe's ability to sustain a war effort for any extended period of time. China would face a similar issue, as over half of all its oil comes from the Middle East, making the region among one of the most likely fronts in a global war with the US. At the start of the conflict, the US would first strike at oil-related facilities across the Middle East, using carrier-based strike aircraft plus medium and long-range ballistic missiles. US power projection means that even without bases in Afghanistan, the military could easily hit targets anywhere from the Mediterranean to the Strait of Hormuz. While regional powers could offer some resistance, none of them have anywhere close to the manpower or firepower needed to stop the US in an all-out war. While Israel, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and several others do have modern fighter jets and other weaponry, even they would not last very long up against the might of the DOD. And because each is an independent country, intelligence and resource sharing among them would also be limited, further reducing the region's ability to stand up to the US in a shooting war. Most of their assets' signals would also likely be jammed by America's powerful electronic warfare capabilities, which would disrupt enemy communications, targeting, and guidance systems across the region. The greatest threat to US control of the Middle East in our scenario comes from ground-based air defenses, as even older systems can shoot unsuspecting fighter jets from the sky. However, unlike Russia's recent experience in Ukraine, the US has actually proven that it can effectively destroy another nation's air defense network.
I love how they had to call out Russia on this. That was great. That was great. Oh, you got to appreciate that.
Right,
so.
right.
All right, let's keep going.
As it did during Desert Storm in the 1990s. Today this might be even easier due to the enormous arsenal of drones the US has access to. Most US losses in the air would likely come from such drones, as well as fourth-generation jets like the F-15, while its more modern F-18s and F-22s could evade all but the best air defense systems. After establishing air superiority, the US would then work to control all choke points into and out of the region, especially the easily blocked Suez Canal, where over 12% of global trade passes through. If it was able to effectively keep regional control over the Middle East and its resources, the US would have a decent shot at winning against the rest of the world. A second major battlefield would be the Pacific, where the US would probably use its fleet to keep China and other East Asian nations contained and stop them from attacking the West Coast. This could mean either a blockade of major trade and supply routes, as well as using islands like Hawaii and Guam to stage its own offensives. It would also utilize its fleet of aircraft carriers heavily in the Asia-Pacific region. As of this video, there are 47 aircraft carriers around the world.
Aircraft carriers are the best thing our Navy ever came up with, other than the battleships and the destroyers. Oh my God. Yeah. I've gotten to be on an aircraft carrier when I was about 9 years old, I want to say, 9 or 10. And those things are freaking amazing. My dad was on one when he served in Vietnam. They are the best thing because they can get our planes anywhere. They can refuel them if they need to land midway to a target.
Almost as if that's what the term aircraft carrier means.
It was a major advancement. Let's keep going. But did you have anything to add, Dee?
No, go ahead.
The largest 11 of these are all nuclear-powered carriers belonging to the US, which have more than twice the combined total deck space of every other country combined. The Pacific Fleet fields 7 of these, and in a global war could use them to deny access to anything approaching the US mainland. Again, oil would be another top concern, and the US could use its massive navy to gain control of the Strait of Malacca, which carries up to 40% of the world's trade every year. While less easily choked off than the Suez Canal, a US blockade of this waterway would also devastate most economies in Asia, giving the US serious economic leverage over China, India, and others. The US would also likely exert its naval power in the South China Sea, which it could use to launch strikes against China, Japan, the Philippines, or any other regional power. Heavy fighting would ensue across the sea and air domains all around the South China Sea, and could account for the heaviest US casualties in any theater of this hypothetical war. Another potential target is Taiwan, where over 90% of the world's advanced microchips are currently fabricated. The US might even need to seize and try to occupy the island to stop the global coalition from dominating the production of modern electronics. To do so, the US would inevitably have to challenge China as well. Chinese air defenses and ballistic missile capabilities are already powerful alone, and if combined with the assets of every other country in the region, could potentially pose a problem for the US. The naval base on Guam would be especially vulnerable to strikes by ballistic missiles, which could overwhelm its limited air defenses. Even so, the US Navy is so powerful that every country in the East Pacific combined would be occupied with fending it off, and probably could not launch their own strikes on the US mainland. And because the US Navy is larger than those of the next 8 countries combined, it could easily fight in 2 or 3 theaters at once, making simultaneous blockades of Europe, the Middle East, and Asia Pacific a real possibility. Another aspect of a global war would involve submarines, which unsurprisingly the US has more of than almost anyone else. Its fleet contains 53 fast attack submarines, 14 nuclear-capable ballistic missile subs, and 4 guided missile subs. Even without using the world-ending nuclear capabilities of an Ohio-class submarine, this massive fleet would allow the US to launch stealth attacks on enemy naval vessels anywhere in the world, completely undetected. While America would be far more hard-pressed to fend off a global coalition on the ground, at sea, the US stands a much better chance of victory. A third global area of battle would be the Americas, where the US would have the greatest ability to marshal forces and project power. And because Mexico, Canada, and other countries in the region are far less powerful, there is a good chance the US could blockade, control, or destroy the majority of their military and economic resources. Canada and Venezuela are both obvious targets because of their status as oil producers, and in a global war the US would probably aim to shut down or take control of resources in both. Another obvious target is the Panama Canal, which serves as the gateway between the Atlantic and Pacific, and where 40% of all US container shipping flows through. The US controlled the canal from 1903 to 1979, and would try to seize it again during a global war.
Which we see Trump prepping for, by the way, just so y'all are aware.
Right.
I just don't want it to play too long without me interrupting, so I apologize.
Yeah, we don't want to get any copyright strikes or anything, so hence the interruptions.
And we do have the link that if you guys want to go check out the full video without our commentary, it is going to be in the description. And Brett got a good point. Should have never given it up.
I agree.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Just like we shouldn't have given up, a lot of things. Afghanistan, for one, all the equipment and stuff that was left behind.
Oh, that was a Biden one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. I mean, and, think about, though, even though, this video says we would win, think about how many countries we go into to train.
Yep.
And help.
A lot.
There's a lot. And so with what we do teach them, and to know that could be turned and used against us, I hope they're not giving all the cookies away in the cookie jar. I don't think they are, but then you never know. With some
of our presidents have been really stupid over the years.
Exactly. So hopefully it's not, but again, I don't know.
We'll see.
Go ahead.
All right.
Militaries of Central and South America. Chile is another potential target as the country supplies 28% of the world's copper, critical for the production of modern electronics. Now, obviously, a hypothetical alliance of every other country in the world would have the numerical advantage in overall troops and economic resources. But keep in mind that as of 2022, US military spending was $877 billion, constituting 40% of the global total and more than the next 10 countries combined. Today, this enormous sum still only accounts for about 3% of the country's GDP. In a global war,
$877 billion is only 3% of what we have as a GDP.
Right.
Wow.
Well, next week, we'll talk about that at the end
of
this.
The economy.
We'll talk about that.
We're going to have a little economics 101 for the audience.
Now, don't be giving away too much. Let's finish the video, ma'am.
All right.
Or this percentage would almost certainly increase and could rise to similar levels as World War II, when US military spending accounted for over 40% of national GDP. Today, that would mean somewhere close to $10 trillion a year in military spending from the US alone, nearly 5 times the global total from 2022. Astronomical numbers like these mean that a war of attrition against America would also be likely to fail, as the country could outspend the rest of the world several times over for many years. To gain a true strategic edge over the US, a global coalition would have to somehow outgun and outspend the Defense Department, while also maintaining their own smaller economies. Another crucial domain in a global conflict with the US would play out in cyberspace. This would probably be the first line of contact between the warring parties, as both sides would attempt to gain information superiority and take each other's systems offline. While US Cyber Command would almost certainly be overwhelmed with attacks by many actors at once, America could also use its own highly effective attacks to shut down enemy power grids, computer networks, weapons, electronics, and much more. And while it's not as dominant in cyberspace as in the real world, the US still has by far the most capable and best-funded capabilities in the world. In the 2024 fiscal year, US cyber spending will rise to more than $25 billion.
Wow.
And the country continues to top every ranking of national.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. One thing that, and you hear again in the mainstream media a lot about is that they would hit the power grids, and that our power grids, that if they were hit, they're not well protected, they haven't been updated, they're not secure. So, if somebody had the wherewithal, that would probably be your best bet to mount, like your first attack would be on, take out some power grid.
But there's still enough of us who know how to live off grid and be just fine.
Right.
The cities would struggle.
Right.
But those of us out in the country, well, shit. It's just another springtime.
Well, that would be, I don't believe this video talks about it though, and that would be an interesting piece is, think about Europe in World War I and World War II and how difficult it was to find food, to get a loaf of bread, to get a piece of meat or whatever. So if you have, enemy in your city or towns or whatever, and then you're not able to get to Walmart to buy a loaf of bread or buy a box of pasta off the shelf, do the citizens then turn on one another
or do we start reminding people how to make pasta at home?
Well, that's the thing, and I don't see that happening, and I wonder if there would be more infighting. I mean, that's another way to get, cause trouble amongst the ranks. Go in and create chaos, take a grid down, go in and, mess up with a city, and then they have no way of getting, supplies in. And I believe I recall seeing one stat that said, 4 weeks maybe they might last in a city, and then they fan out into the countryside, those who can't get food, water, whatever. So, there'd be a huge argument,
but again, the chances of this even happening are slim to none.
Right.
So
but just
we're all
interesting
good
to play a war game. And it gives you pause to think, I think. You know what I mean? It's a what if type scenario, and who knows, someday that it might happen. You don't know.
All right, let's get through this last 2 minutes and some odd seconds.
Cyber power. However, this domain would also be one of the biggest dangers to the US in a global war, as cyber attacks are notoriously difficult to predict and defend against. A well-placed cyber attack by a less powerful nation could still be catastrophic, and would probably be a more serious immediate threat to US citizens than a kinetic strike on the country. However, again, we have no way of knowing how much American cyber spending would increase in a total war, or how quickly that would lead to new capabilities. All the elements point to a big conclusion. The US is so powerful that it could take on the rest of the world for weeks or months with no certain winner. Because of this, such a hypothetical conflict would likely become a war of attrition in both the physical and digital worlds. The US would work to starve the world's other major powers of oil, war supplies, and other vital resources, while attempting to preserve its own. A true assault on the US mainland would be extremely difficult because of the country's size, geographic positioning, and incredibly well-armed military and civilian population. Because of the US military's global presence, most of the fighting would likely happen elsewhere, opening theaters of war everywhere from the Middle East to South America and East Asia. In the end, the victor would almost certainly be whichever side could outlast the other, both in terms of military and economic resources. While the scenario of America versus the entire world is obviously an absurd one, it does give us a useful picture of just how powerful the US military really is. With resources greater than those of most individual countries and nearly limitless power projection, even a conventional conflict against the US would be very, very hard to achieve true victory. Add in the country's continued dominance in cyberspace, and it's not all clear whether the rest of the world would actually be able to win such a war. And all of the speculation above excludes the most powerful part of the equation: nuclear weapons. Because of the principle of mutually assured destruction, no country really wants to use them today. However, it's worth noting that the US has over 1,400 actively deployed nukes, and in any real global conflict, they could be used to give any non-nuclear country a very permanent end. And even in a very distant hypothetical like the one above, we should remember that the cost of human life in any worldwide conflict would be staggering, and that even winners in such a war would suffer. But what do you think? Would the US really be able to win a war against the rest of the world? Or would the country eventually be overwhelmed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Okay, I'm going to cut it there because he goes into his little spew.
Yeah, one other comment I want to make is that, when what did Trump run on, and what's the first thing Trump said he was going to do? Drill, baby, drill.
Exactly.
So, we wouldn't be, if we could get our act together, we wouldn't be beholden to the Middle East and potentially have to have war over there. But the issue I have with all of this is it's nice that it's drill, baby, drill. That was what it was in his first term. Biden comes in, wrecks all that. Trump's back. We're back to drill, baby, drill. We need somebody in 2028 that carries on drill, baby, drill. That's what we need.
It is.
Success. For success.
Yep. And we'll see how it goes over the next few years.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed, we have some good, sane backups in the very near future. And we kind of just go from there, because we can't be caught with our pants down the way Europe did.
Mm-mm.
With this whole situation going on with Russia right now, what do we see? Europe scrambling. Like, oh my God, what are we supposed to do? Well, here's what you're supposed to do.
No, and Europe's turning around. And what did they had 30 leaders that said, it's the United States' responsibility. And I told you before, I'm of the belief we are not the world's police.
We aren't.
We're not to be. I don't know. I'm sorry about it. If things, I don't know. Even if they went into Europe, do we belong over there again? I told you.
I don't know.
Over my dead body.
But here's the thing, though. We're part of NATO. We are supposed to assist if shit like this happens.
We are NATO. What do you mean part of? We are NATO.
And NATO has come to our defense after September 11th.
Oh, big whoop-de-doo.
Well, they showed up, but it's not like we really truly needed them at the moment. We were good on our own, but it was nice to have a little backup.
Mm-hmm. All right, what do we got up next?
That's it for the day.
Okay, that's cool.
Made it almost 2 hours.
We almost made 2 hours. So, as we mentioned, there'll be new programming beginning April 1st. These next 2 weeks, you have to bear with us because all kind of crap is going on, and we don't know which ends up and what you're going to see and not see, or hear or not hear, or be seen or shown, or do we even show up? So we will try to communicate as effectively as possible and get the message out. As you know, the hours have been changed 3 to 5. We will not be broadcasting Mondays or Wednesdays or Saturdays.
Well, that might be changing the Mondays and Wednesdays because of my physical therapy.
So those announcements will be made as those appointments change. But for right now, it's Monday and Wednesday this week. We will not broadcast. Saturdays we will not, and Sundays are right now are in a planning stage, so we're not sure what's going to happen there, but we have an idea. We're trying to make it easy on ourselves and easy on you as well, so we don't want you to have to, be tuned in every single day or whatever, but we have things planned. If there's any programming or ideas that you have that you'd like to see, what you like, what you don't like, put it in the comments. We won't hold it against you. I won't hunt you down, not till April at least. But we're open to anything right now. So we hope you enjoy what we've put together. And we just figure that we're going to continue to get better. As I said, what we're using, this program, it's brand new. We just started messing with it this morning, and we don't know what it actually can all do, but you're the guinea pig, so we appreciate you.
And I want to say hi to JJ. I'm not sure if you saw my DM on Discord, but I can't post on X anymore.
Yeah,
So
somebody got in trouble.
hold on one.
Yeah, somebody's been permanently banned off of X.
Yes,
So,
I posted a comment, and there was a mass report on me being a bot and inauthentic behavior. And so I tried appealing it, and the AI bot emailed me back right away. And I appealed that appeal, and they emailed that again within under a minute. And it's like, a person reviewed your case. Bull crap, a person did. No person can email that quickly. So yeah, anyone who follows mutual people on X, tell them I'm sorry. I got my butt in trouble, and actually did nothing wrong in the process. But yeah, so yeah, and I don't think there's a way to get a hold of a person. There's a phone number I can try tomorrow, but not likely to get me anywhere. Because obviously I'm not a bot, but some jackasses didn't like me pointing out the irony of a black judge from Africa having a slave, and how the American media and history narrative is that only white people were benefiting from slavery and all that stuff, So I got myself in trouble for posting a very sarcastic and accurate opinion.
well, let's stop there so we don't get in trouble here.
Oh, I ain't gonna get in trouble here.
Mhm.
Okay, what am I
You
doing?
never know.
Go do something productive, child.
I did. I washed everyone a bowl.
Okay, well, we're getting ready to call it a day, so please do rewind, watch this from the beginning. It's a great video, at least in my opinion. Y'all can leave your comments and stuff about it, what you think, all of that fun stuff, and we'll just kind of go from there. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
and
there anything
again,
else you wanted to touch
and
on?
so yeah, for next week we are going to try to do kind of like a U.S. economics money programming format. We have a list of things to discuss. It'll be on a very basic uh, idea concept. We're not going to delve into it too deep, but people have questions. You may have taken these in, high school or college, and you've forgotten, exactly maybe what a tariff is, or, what's the macro and microeconomics. And again, just very simple, easy to understand. But we feel it's important with, knowing where all the spending and where the money and everything goes, along with how we talked about with the Ukraine situation and we can't track the money. There's some additional information that we found that would be presented with this uh, money segment, and maybe you all can tell us where it all is. So we'll go from there. And with that, I'm done.
All
I
right.
am done.
Well, then I'm going to pull up the outro, and we will see y'all on Tuesday.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate everybody. Thank you. Have a good Sunday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Be safe tomorrow if you're out drinking.
All right. And that goes into my intro,
All
my
right,
extra
goodbye,
outro.
Crazy.
Oh, so with that, I thank you all for showing up, being here. And as usual, stay safe, stay sane, stay sober. I truly appreciate those who showed up and those who are going to be watching later on. I will catch y'all on the next one.